over in the parking lot. And if you're all ready, I'd like to take a few minutes to let everyone go downstairs and get some water and get your hat if necessary. And we're going to go kick the tires on this machine. Thank you. You know, it's cooking. It's 750 degrees. I got that out of a catalytic converter on a 900,000 BTU boiler. It was on the catalytic converter on a stack. Taxpayer probably work. It was going in the trash before I rescued it. In the dumpster, along with the boiler and the catalytic converter. I got the folks. That gonna work, Larry? Yeah, okay. Thank you all for coming out to see the solar turtle. This device, as I said before, does make electricity from our PV panel over here, and clean water. We're using pretty much standard 6-volt batteries, and underneath this little guy right here is our inverter, and it's 1200 watts. It's got built-in power. We can listen to the CB traffic up and down the highway here, and it's got a metering system inside that tells you what your load is and how much power is coming in, so you can monitor it. It's got a real long snake cord on it, so you can plug in accessories. It's got a built-in cigarette lighter, so if you need to start a fire, then you can do it. It also has a built-in cigarette lighter inside, so if you don't have to break that guy out when you're camping, just use the one inside to light your fire. No kerosene or anything. Try to make it environmentally friendly. And, something that with 15 minutes worth of training from the dealer, there it is. It's hot as hell. It has a built-in fire suppression, a halon system. You need to remember with this machine right here that if the halon goes off for a fire, don't open the door. Just leave it closed. And this port right here, if you got a CO2 bottle that you carry with you, fire extinguisher, stick the nozzle in there to put the fire out. It's got a pump to pump water. It has a pump to stick in the pond to suck the water out of the pond to put the water in the tank. So now we can take the water out of the tank and run it through this little guy right here, which is called a Seagull, at 1 gallon a minute. So 60 gallons an hour. It won't take long to fill up a barrel of water that everybody can do dishes and out of the lake or whatnot, or freeze. And we're going to make some ice cream. So I use this with our solar potluck cook-offs. We get together once a year with large collectors to have a barbecue. So one guy may be cooking a pot of beans, and another guy may be doing cookies and pizzas or turkey with solar ovens. So this is one of the toys that we take with us, so we can have power for the band, because we're going to have a moonlight dance and make ice cream. The energy business and looking at alternative energy, we're all looking to try to save energy or make energy for profit. One of the things that we use right here, if you all look at the difference of color of the shell, is that this has ceramic paint on it. This paint is about 7 mils thick and is equivalent to 8 inches of fiberglass insulation. So if you paint your roof with this stuff, you will definitely have an energy savings, whether you like it or not. Here is 2 pieces of Italian tile. I've had these for 7 years, floating around in the truck. You could put this one on your cheek, put this one on your, this one's cold. Yeah, right, well, ceramic paint. What happens if when the paint dries, put it right here, let it cook up. When the paint dries, all of the hollow spheres or beads in there are under vacuum. So I mean, just like a thermos jug. So we're taking the aluminum borosilicate beads. Now this paint has been cryogenically treated. That means it has been taking 300 degrees below zero over 24 hours to get all of its little molecules to get in a straight line. Basically the paint has been polarized, and you can paint that on a Teflon skillet, and the only way that you're going to get the paint off is ash the skillet. It's stuck on there. The adhesion rate has just gone phenomenal. We don't know what it is because I have no way of measuring it. You got to scrape it off with a hammer and a chisel. So that's just one thing. There's about 15 manufacturers in North America that make a ceramic-based paint, anywhere from $12 a gallon to $70 a gallon. You have to shop around.
Temperature, like a combustion chamber or
No,
something?
no, because basically the paint that is. Yeah, right. Basically, it's elastomeric paint, acrylic paint without any water in it, like most house paints now. If you tint ceramic paints more than 2%, you lose your efficiency dramatically. There are homes in Yuma, Arizona, that have painted their whole house, inside and out. And Yuma's a hot place. And they're now operating their ceiling fans. And they're saving 25% on their light bills. Let's see, what else? Well, let's spin up some gold. See if we can find some gold. Get that box. This is a device running off the solar turtle. It's 12 volts. It's got a 12 volt DC pump and a windshield washer motor to make this machine go around. This separates the heavy metal fractions from dirt. There's some dirt that I've done in the corner of the parking lot down here that washed off the hillside, so we didn't make the garden of that. I think it was bushes. And this is the result. Let you all pass this around. This is 6 pounds of titaniferous magnetite that has zirconium, hafnium, gold, silver, platinum, and palladium in it. But more titanium than anything else, and more iron. And $50 a pound at the factory if you have to buy that stuff. The titanium sponge, if you're going to be in the business, I have a billion tons of that stuff. And so there's plenty to go around. Our great-grandkid can't finish mining. It's 2,500 square miles of this material, 5,000 foot deep at 5%. There's not enough miners and mining equipment in North America to haul it off. So America has lots of resources and resources with their people. Gold is where you find it. The real gold is not in the ground. And it never has been in the ground. The real gold is with the people that you work with. You know, some of them you may want to give a pink slip to. You know, you're going to be the presenter. You know, and if anybody wants a pink slip to present to somebody, you know, it's kind of like the Flake of the Year award. I have a few of those in my pocket for those special occasions. Let's throw some dirt in.
I met the guy that designed this.
Really?
He lives over in Forsyth, Arizona. His name's Angus.
Really? Angus Scott Fleming?
I know his last name is
All
Angus.
right, well here's the end result. After the heavy metals have gone through the gold hound and captured in the gold pen, then you can get your 100 power microscope and take a look at it and check whether he's coarse and angular or whether he's flat or smooth. You can check him to see if he's got any magnetic qualities. Precious metals of the iron group, platinum, palladium, osmium, rhodium, ruthenium, and rhenium, have magnetic qualities. So when you drive around America and you see this stuff in the stream bed, you'll remember this, that, I wonder if there's any gold over there. I need to carry my gold pan with me when I travel, and my magnet to find out and bring it home and find out if there's any gold in there.
You can sell this stuff.
Absolutely. I sell it for $120 a ton, this material right here, the black sands.
Are you saying that you can get that out of any sample of dirt?
Pretty much wherever you dig or stream bed, because the iron is heavier than the dirt, it's going to sink. We'll just throw all that in there, tree limbs and plastic bags, and separate them all out, and heavies come out the back. Let's see if we can catch some wet ones back here. It doesn't take long just to get a few of them that's concentrating up the gold hound.
So it goes through the center hole when it climbs high enough.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And in industry, they make one that's up to 12 foot in diameter, and you have to watch it like a hawk. You know, if you want to have better recovery of your metal. The thing about recovering heavy metals, and here's another thing for your home right here, is this little guy right here. These are high intensity magnets that actually polarize the motor. The water is what happens is the calcium and magnesium carbonates that's in solution in the water with the right speed passing through that magnetic field causes the calcium and magnesium carbonates to precipitate as argonite crystals. Now it's a crystal, and with the proper filtration in your home to get rid of everything else except the calcium and magnesium that you need for your body. And everybody complains about having to scrub the shower and the toilets are all that. You put these guys on, it'll clean. It'll take a while. It's not overnight, but it will decalcify the piping system in your home if it needs it. And the hot water heater, for every quarter-inch of sludge that accumulates in the bottom of your hot water heater, it costs you more money. If you have an old gas heater at home, you need to get a barometric damper that goes on the vent to keep the heat in from the pilot, because that's costing you 100,000 BTUs annually going out the stack by running the pilot light. So if you can afford it, go to electronic ignition or electric if your home is only electric. All right, let's turn this noisy thing off.
Yes, we might as well do it now. This is a little vortex generator we came up just to demonstrate what the heck a vortex is and to let people see how it forms and a little bit of understanding of just what a physical water vortex looks like and what is some of the technology we'll be doing or talking about tomorrow. We made this simply to show on desktop how to generate a vortex and the shape of the vortex. It happens pretty quickly once we turn it on. We want you to watch all of the process. You will see that as soon as we turn the water on, the vortex will form very quickly, right? And then it'll start climbing up. And you need to watch the form of it and watch the wiggle in the funnel of the vortex, okay? And see if you can see the little wiggles in it that come up in a very interesting ratio. And if we had a more control of the pump, we could keep it at a certain level and we could watch it for a while and we could point out things. But this pump here is a little more forceful than we need. But it's a real simple little device. It's made out of a bud vase, okay? A little piece of aircraft aluminum and a little machining magic, okay, to create a vortex generator that spins up the vortex almost instantaneously without any wobble in it at all, right? And let's go ahead and just show you the thing. Are you ready to go? Cliff,
Yes.
how do we power this booger up?
Plug it in.
Somebody plug me in. Okay.
Got a key.
I know. Watch that vortex form here. Into those little forms there. Okay, and now notice it completely goes down to a line, and we'll open it up. And notice the particles spinning around there. Okay? All those particles are spinning, and eventually will be ejected out the center. Okay? There are two forces working on. One is the centripetal force of the thing going around. But there's another force that eventually will force them out, and that's the centripetal force. If this thing were spinning a little faster, all of that would happen much, much faster. and this water would start, you would see a layer of clear water and a layer of cloudy water, a very little line in the center here. Okay. The dynamic forces that are going on include both the centrifugal and the centripetal force, plus you have an effect that the water on the outside is moving slower than the water on the inside. So as you move to the center, the speed increases, okay? Which is something you have to consider, and that allows the Bernoulli principle to start working. That any bodies are going to be moved toward the area of less pressure. And in the vortex, the area of less pressure is in the center, okay? Which is counterintuitive. Every fluid dynamic modeling program we've used has told us that the center of the vortex here has infinite pressure. And we've told them that their mathematical models are incorrect because these things don't blow up, okay? And that's one of the problems in studying about the vortex is current fluid dynamics just don't explain it. You take their models and their theories and apply it to real life, and they have no connection, okay? We have a larger vortex unit over there too, and we'll show that one up. We'll probably have that running tomorrow as a demonstration with some clear water in it. Once this is spinning a little slower than it needs to be, but if we would hook this up to a garden hose and had a little more pressure on this thing, all of the suspended solids in here would be sucked right out of this tube very quickly, okay? And as soon as they come in, they'd make like a U-turn and go down the hole, because the Bernoulli principle would start at higher velocities when you have that much more effect, okay? At higher velocities, the difference between each layer of water moving at different speed creates a tremendous dynamic shear, okay? If you turn the water fast enough, and if you create a laminar flow on the input, you can create hundreds of layers of water moving. It's going to get ripped apart, okay? So this, at high speeds, make a real good blender, okay? When you turn the pressures high enough, the actual water molecules have to change state, because, you know, water is not compressible, okay? And when you start moving these things in there, the dynamic shear at the center, well, there's a 0 point in when there's two molecules going opposite directions, okay? So they're creating a shear effect, and they also have a hydrostatic drag effect too. Well, all of those little things cause water molecules to actually change states, okay? And one of the effects that's been measured is the bond angle in the hydrogen can be modified from anywhere from 103 degrees up to 109 degrees to go into a more tetrahedral arrangement, okay? Water has another function that it's clumps together. Water molecules like to clump together, and the longer water sits, the more molecules of water that are involved in these clumps. Unfortunately, as you get more molecules involved in a clump, the total energy of the system available goes down. So you get stagnant, dead water that has really large clumps, and mosquitoes love that water. One of the problems we had in our early research is we made some test units, and the water from that, when we poured it into a pond, wound up killing mosquitoes. And we got real concerned because, oh my God, we're killing some water. Well, it turns out that mosquitoes can't live in fresh water. Fresh water has very small chunks of water. And it's a mosquito larva or mosquito egg doesn't have that small molecule of water in it. There's a reverse osmotic pressure. And these little small water molecules just start flowing in there. Unfortunately, the membrane's a one-way membrane. So it keeps swelling and puffing up until it bursts. Okay? And the other side effect is because water has to change states, the surface tension of the water changes and drops. So that the mosquito larvae that's normally used to putting its breathing tube up and holding it up out of the water with surface tension, there's no surface tension to do that, so it puts out its breathing tube and sucks water and drowns. So we had an entomologist verify those findings for us, and he got really pissed off at us. Because we didn't know he had patented a polymer that lowers the surface tension of water and kills mosquito larvae. But then after he thought about it, he said he got over it, because then he said that also avoids all DuPont's patents on the same, on their polymers. So then he became his friend because he doesn't like DuPont anyway. We're still working on that thing. Killing anything sort of bothers me, although killing mosquitoes is not that bad of an idea. We also found out that the water treated with properly researched also kills mosquitoes disease bacteria by the same process. The white stuff is water, fresh water, just can't survive. So that's an added benefit. When this thing is spinning at higher rates, and one of the secrets to our vortex technology is that we're not just creating a vortex, we're creating a vortex in a resonant chamber. So the harmonics of this beautiful tone that you saw in there are actually reflected in the chambers, and we build them into it. And so we create some standing waves. And the standing wave interference creates a very interesting little pattern. It creates thousands of pathways of least resistance for particles to be separated out, okay, and or to be ground down to very finely. The subtle energy effects of these things. However, some of the waters that we're using, especially the waters that have got higher iron contents in it, every time we spin it up, we develop a huge electrostatic charge around the cabinet that we're in. So we started grounding everything because, we're spinning iron particles really fast in a 0.5 Gauss magnetic field. What are you going to do? You're going to generate electricity, right? And it's going to just build up as a static charge around the cabinet. Okay? So we learned how to ground that. But we found that the water that we processed vortex, we started talking about the vortex phenomenon, what is it, how to do it, and it finally dawned on us that what we're actually on the verge of creating is learning how to use water as the constituent material to make a machine that could work at the molecular level. Okay? So the mental leap our company has made in implementing vortex technology to use it for cleaning up water and doing other good work is that the concept that the machine itself is actually made up of water. Okay? And the motion of the water and the natural flows of the water, by manipulating those, we can make the water do real work. Okay? And for various things. And that opened us up a whole new avenue of investigation, and we got vortex units that clean up the water, they clean up the iron and sulfur and the gases right out of the water, single pass, no moving parts, no chemicals, no filters, no maintenance. You just install it, let it go. Well, eventually, every once in a while, within 3 weeks, you're going to have to go around to all your faucets and empty out the garbage and shoot the loose out of your pipes. Because this stuff, the water is so active and so hungry for information, once it's processed, it'll actually steal the calcium right off the pipes. And on iron pipes, instead of H304, H203, it makes H304, which is the black finish on iron pipes instead of the rusty finish. Okay? And once you get that black finish on there, it doesn't rust anymore. So it inhibits oxidation in the pipes. When we're spinning it with well water or city water, we notice that the concentration of oxygen moves to the outside layers of the unit. Okay? So if you we can actually, by spinning it and creating different flow diverters, and if you'll notice now, we're segregating layers, little small layers of different density materials here. You know, the big stuff is sort of dancing around in one area, and then this area up here is a little lighter in color than this stuff here, right? You can actually segregate by size particles, and by putting outlets at the right places, you can actually take selected things out of the water. Right?
Fractional separation.
Fractional separation, yeah. You can do that. Okay? Now, that gets real expensive because the machine work to do that, it's costly, but it can be done.
And you can do very, very specific
And as long as you can control the velocity of the water, you can take, our normal units, you know, well units, can actually take particles down to 2 microns without filters. What's a lot less energy input than distillation. Okay? And we can cascade these things. Okay? So we can actually go after all the garbage, the big stuff first, put it into a finer, higher speed velocity vortex unit, and take out the medium stuff, and then put it into a real fine separation unit. Come up some really, really clean water.
similar boiling points.
You can get rid of the deuterium in the water. That's worth a lot of money. You know, it's a tremendous health benefit too. Okay? I really can't talk about that stuff. The boys back at the shop would kill me. Well, I'll give them all my waste. They can have all the deuterium. Well, they can have it because it's nasty, nasty stuff for the body. What happens if you drink water that has a normal amount of deuterium, deuterium bonds better than normal hydrogen. So as you may age, deuterium replaces the normal hydrogen bond in the DNA. And because that bond is stronger, when it comes time for the RNA to come in and replicate a protein, it does not unzip. So it skips replication. And then more errors start creeping in. Transcription RNA. As more deuterium replaces the bond in our DNA. Okay? The nice thing is that Hungarian research has showed that if you drink deuterium-free water, you start flushing that deuterium out of the body. Even distribution, and there's some principle of all of the effects of deuterium in the body.
Okay, it fades in right there.